situated here. And I would have liked to have shown you guys more in this update video, but we appear to be getting some much needed rain at the moment. So, but I promised you guys I'd give you an update. And don't worry, there's more content coming soon. I'm just starting out basically with my new job. Well, I just want to be honest with you guys. I want to be straightforward with you so that you know what happened with me. This is probably going to be a long video. If you're interested in knowing the details, then it's going to be a pretty long video. Some of the stuff I don't really feel extremely comfortable talking about on YouTube, but it's no secret what happened with me. Obviously my old employer knows, my new employer knows, and the DOT knows, the FMCSA knows what happened with me. It was not an accident, it was not any kind of incident, it was nothing like that. But I mean, if you guys really want to know, I'll be vulnerable with you. I'll be straightforward and tell you what happened. And you know, I'm kind of thinking that if I just straight up tell you the truth, I'm probably going to receive some backlash and some judgment from certain people that watch this video. I might lose some viewers over it. I don't really know. I might gain some viewers over it. I don't really know. But I failed a drug test. And that happened at the very beginning of August. And, you know, granted, as you already know, I've been a truck driver for 7 years. And when you are a truck driver, you are subject to random DOT drug screens. And I knew that. It had been a little over 2 years. You're supposed to get at least one every year, but it had been a little bit over 2 years since I had gotten one. Now, I know you guys are probably thinking, what the hell did you do? Like, what? You had drugs in your system and you're driving a truck? Oh my God. What the hell is wrong with you? Well, I'm not going to justify myself, and this is kind of hard to talk about, you guys, because like I said, yeah, you know, obviously a lot of people would watch this and just point the finger at me and say, you know what, you're a piece of shit, you know, you're not worthy of being a truck driver, this and that. But you have to take into consideration a couple of things, okay? I have never, ever performed the duties of my job as a truck driver under the influence of anything. My last job that I had, I was a local truck driver. I went home every night. I was off on the weekends. And that's basically how it happened, okay? So here's what I did. I went home one weekend. It was a Friday. I got off work. I stopped by a store on my way home. And there's like hardly any stores that you can go to anymore that don't sell CBD or just straight up what they call Delta 8, Delta 9, THC supplements, okay? So I came home one day, stopped at the store, I saw that stuff, and I made a really stupid choice, a really selfish choice, to try some of it. And so I did. And I knew the risk that I was taking whenever I decided to do this. I didn't worry too much about it because, like I said, I hadn't had a drug test in like over 2 years, which, you know, some would say, well, there's your freaking clue right there that you're about to get one. And I thought about that, but there's some things about the previous company that I worked for that I won't go into in great depth, other than to tell you that, yeah, they broke some rules too. I was there for about 1.5 years. My first year there, I was a temp driver, okay? After being a temp for a whole year, they finally hired me on, and they just hired me. They didn't give me a pre-employment drug screen. They didn't give me anything, okay? They just hired me. Well, it wasn't until about 6 months after they hired me that they actually registered me into the FMCSA clearinghouse. And as far as I know, it's straight up illegal to hire any truck driver without giving them a pre-employment drug screen, which they didn't do. And it's straight up illegal to not pull a driver's, I said register them. No, it doesn't work. No, I have to register myself into the clearinghouse. But it's the company's responsibility to pull the records from the clearinghouse, which they attempted to do about 6 months after they hired me. And apparently they didn't do it. They made me sign a consent to release the information to them, which, by the way, like I said, guys, I've been a truck driver for 7 years. I've never failed a drug test, never refused a drug test, never had any issues with substances at all. Okay. So that's why I wasn't real worried about getting tested. Well, it just so happened that, you know, not even a week after I had taken this stuff over the weekend, they popped a random test on me and I failed it. And despite being with that company for, if you include the whole year that I was there as a temp, which you should, because I was doing the same freaking work that their regular employees were doing, except I was making a lot less money to do it, then, you know, despite being there for that much time and never giving them any issues, never having any accidents, never having any complaints from any of the customers, never showing up late, having a pretty much perfect attendance, I never called out. The reason why I never called out is because it paid a lot of money and I liked the job because it paid so much. Now I would say my pay range was usually between $1,500 to $2,000. Working there, you know, 5 days, I would make that much on a regular basis. The $2,000 end of it, that was a really good week, and anything below $1,500 was a piss poor week. So I was making good money to be there, and I didn't mind the job. I liked the job. I liked what I did. It was the best job I ever had. And so that's another reason why you'd probably be like, well, why the hell did you take that CBD crap? And trust me, guys, I've regretted it every day since. You know, as soon as I failed the test, I had to talk to human resources, and this company that I worked for was not huge, but it was a pretty good sized company, and they have setups all over the country, and I just so happened to be in the southeast setup. Well, their main corporate was in Illinois, had to call and talk to human resources at their corporate office, and they let me go on the spot. As soon as it happened, they let me go. Didn't ask any questions, or hardly, except for why did you do it. So I dealt with human resources. At the same time, I kind of talked a little bit with the people in charge in the southeast region out of the office that I worked out of, and they were really pissed off at me because they liked me and they didn't want to let me go. They were mad. They were just basically like, I can't, like, why would you do this? You're a good employee. We don't want to lose you. But they let me go. So that's all I'm going to say about it. I lost my job. Best job I ever had. I mean, I bought a house. I mean, it's not paid for, but that job paid so well that even working there as a temp, I was able to purchase a house. So now I've got a mortgage, I've got kids, I've got a wife, I've got family, and I just lost my job. I'm 38 years old. I'm too old for this shit. I messed up really bad. I had to come home from work and tell my wife what happened, and it was an extremely difficult conversation, and it was one of those things where she was just like, I don't even know if I can trust you anymore. I don't even know who you are anymore, because guys, like I said, I haven't had any issues with substance abuse at all. I just, in a split second, I chose to take this crap that, like I said, you can buy it at any store on the corner in Georgia where I live. Like, it's everywhere. You can't go into a store without it in your face. THC, Kratom, CBD, all that crap. It's just all in your face, okay? And so I had to break the news, and it was hard. And I went from making, like I said, between $1,500 and $2,000 a week to making absolutely nothing. Okay, that was the first thing I had to do. The second thing that I had to do is open up my clearinghouse. If you guys don't know what that is, if you're not truck drivers or whatever, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration has this system that they started doing in 2020. It's called Clearinghouse. And what it does is it keeps up with every single truck driver's records. If any truck driver refuses a drug test, if they fail a drug test, it goes on your record for like 5 years. And any company that you work for has to pull your record, and they're going to see that you failed a drug test. And most companies are not going to be okay with that. So, me being a well-seasoned truck driver with 7 years of experience, clean record, clean MVR, no citations, no recent accidents within the past, 6 years, no preventable accidents, like absolutely none whatsoever. I went from a driver that could have pretty much gotten any job I wanted to a driver that's going to have this violation on my clearinghouse records for the next 5 years. And like I said, most companies, as soon as they find out you failed a drug test, they don't want nothing to do with you. It doesn't matter if you have any accidents or citations or anything. You can have a freaking MVR with 0 points on it, which is what I have, and they won't touch you because you failed a drug test. So the next thing that I had to do was reach out to, they have these companies, and it's basically just a business. I'm not trying to sound pessimistic about this, but I am just kind of letting you know how it went. Like, they have companies that run this program. It's called the SAP program, the Substance Abuse Program. And you have to reach out, unless you're just going to walk away and you're going to just throw your CDL in the trash can after you fail the drug test. You only have one choice, and that is to reach out to these companies. Now, they're all over the country. It's not hard to look it up. Just look up SAP program, and you're going to find all these different companies with professionals, people that have PhDs, MAs, or whatever their titles are. They have, basically, they're qualified professionals, and you have to sign up with one. They're substance abuse counselors, okay? And the first thing that you're going to do is start forking out money, like a lot of money. It cost me almost $1,000. It's a big lightning strike just now. It cost me almost $1,000 to get an SAP counselor and sign up for this program. Now, the first thing he does after you pay a crap load of money is he's going to set up a meeting with you. It's probably going to be a Zoom meeting, or you can choose to go into their office, and he's going to give you a complete evaluation. You're going to fill out a ton of paperwork about your health history, if you have any substance abuse history, your criminal record, if you've ever been charged with any drug charges or anything like that. They're going to look at all this information about you. And then they're going to evaluate you. They're going to give you a long interview. They're going to ask you a ton of questions. And it's up to you to answer them honestly and be as straightforward as you can. The guy that I dealt with, he was pretty easygoing, but he was also pretty intuitive. You can tell he took his job pretty seriously, and they can tell when you're lying most of the time, especially if you have a bad record. Me, I have no criminal background whatsoever. I've never had any drug charges or anything like that. Okay? I know I'm a freaking idiot for what I did. I am. I screwed myself over so bad because I worked so hard to get to where I was, and I was in a really good spot. Again, had a really good job. Could have taken just about any job out there that I wanted. If I wanted to move into any other field other than dry van, I had the option to do that. I could have started driving a tanker. I could have started driving, I could have started with a company hauling cars, car carrier company, anything like that. I could have went back to food service. I had a lot of options, and I screwed it all up. This is really no different than maxing out your the maximum amount of accidents that you're allowed to have within a 3-year period. You know what I'm saying? Like, the insurance companies, they look at this clearinghouse stuff too. And if you fail a drug test, or you refuse to submit a drug test, the insurance companies are going to know about it. So it's going to be harder to cover you as a driver. Okay? But there are 6 steps to this substance abuse program. The first step is your evaluation. Like I said, you're going to talk to the counselor. He's going to evaluate you. He's going to then move forward to let you know what needs to be done for you to get back in duty. Because as soon as you fail the drug test or you refuse to submit it, they're going to put you out of service, and you cannot legally drive. You have a violation on your record, and if they catch you driving, you're probably going to go to prison. If you fail a drug test and they know about it and you're driving after that, no, you're going to prison. So I didn't touch a truck. Now, After he did the evaluation on me, he came to the determination or the decision that I would be eligible for a non-DOT drug test after I completed a 20-hour course on substance abuse. And that was all online. I had to pay for it. It was actually separate. So the initial valuation, just to give you an idea about how much all this crap cost me, the initial evaluation was like $400. It cost me $400 to talk to this guy on a Zoom meeting for about half an hour. They charged me $400 for that. Okay, then he told me that I had to take 20 hours of a substance abuse course. That was separate. Okay, I actually had to go through a separate company to do that. And I think that was about $300. You're looking at $700 right there, okay? And that's what I did immediately. The week that I got fired is when I signed up for this SAP program. It took about 5 days for him to do the evaluation. And then as soon as he did the evaluation, I signed up for the online courses. It literally is 20 hours. It's going to take a long time for you to do this. Hopefully you have good reading comprehension skills. And hopefully, you know, it helps you. Me, I was sober, you know what I'm saying? I had no drugs in my system, nothing like that. I was clean, you know, the whole time that I did it. I didn't have any issues passing it or anything like that. It's not multiple choice. You know, if you guys are thinking, oh, this is probably just going to be like whenever I went and I got my my Class A permit and I did a multiple choice evaluation at the DMV or whatever. No, it's not multiple choice. They expect you to write sentences for your answers. Okay. The first part of it that I did, I don't know if they're all the same or they're all different or what. But the first part of it that I did, I actually had to do research. I felt almost like I was taking some kind of college course or something. It was on that level. I had to do research. I had to get onto the CDC website, and I had to do research on the drug-related overdose deaths, like graphs and charts and stuff. I had to figure out how much drug abuse has escalated in the past 20 years. And I had to like write a whole report about it. So that was the first thing I had to do, which took a while to do. And then the rest of it, it's just reading, and you have to do, like I said, you have to answer all the questions. You have to put in, you know, complete sentences and everything for your answers. And it's like school, you know what I'm saying? That's really what it is. It's a literal course. I learned a lot about drug abuse. I learned a lot about substances. None of it pertained to me, really. I do understand, you know, now substance abuse can impact your brain and exactly what it does to your brain. There were some kind of interesting things about it that I learned that I didn't know. Other than that, you know, I just sat there and I did it. I sucked it up and I did it. I had it done in about 3 days. And then I talked to the counselor again, and that's when he told me it was okay for me to go and take a non-DOT. It was like a 10-panel drug screen, which I went and I took immediately, and I passed it. It was negative. So after that, I had to talk to him again, and that's basically when the job search started. Now, I can't tell you how many applications I filled out. I can't tell you how many companies I talked to. Most companies, say you get on Indeed or something like that, those job websites on the internet, anything like that, You're going to have to give them your information. It's going to be really annoying. They're going to sell your information to other companies. You're going to get freaking telemarketer calls out the wazoo. But it's something that you're just going to have to do if you want to find a job. Now, I talked to probably about 30 or 40 different companies, and most of them told me the same thing. We do not hire drivers in the SAP program. We can't hire you. You're not eligible. Let me go back to the steps real quick. I'm sorry I'm kind of jumping around here and there, but I'm just trying to explain how all this works. So step 1 is you get evaluated. Step 2 is you take that course, and depending on what your counselor deems necessary for you to be eligible to go and take a non-DOT drug screen, it might take online courses, it might take psychiatric counseling, it might take detox, it might take, who knows? Okay, it all depends on what drug you're doing. It depends on if you're dependent on it, if you're having withdrawal, anything like that. And see, the bad thing about this, all this is that, okay, I've never been addicted to heroin. You know, I've never been like strung out on crap like that. You know what I'm saying? And since I became a truck driver, I haven't touched anything like that. I smoked weed when I was a teenager. I did. I'm not gonna lie about it. I did. But I haven't, you know, from the time I took that CBD stuff in July, you know, a couple months ago, I had not touched anything. I drink every now and then occasionally when I'm not working, obviously. If I'm at home with my wife, yeah, I'll have some alcohol. What's the big deal with that? You know what I'm saying? That's how I was looking at the CBD stuff. I was like, okay, I'm not on duty. How is this any different than drinking when you're at home? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing it while I'm working. And the shit is legal. You can buy it in the freaking store. Okay? It's in every freaking gas station that you go into. So that's why I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And like I said, I made a stupid judgment. I made a stupid decision. And I knew deep down that if I had gotten drug tested, I would fail it. I did know that because I knew that the stuff I was taking had THC in it. Okay? So, step 2, okay, let me stay on topic, is the course. Step 3 is the non-DOT 10-panel drug screen. Now, you get a negative result on that, you pass that one, you're on step 4, okay? Step 4 is that you find a company that's willing to hire you. They know the deal. They've pulled your clearinghouse records. They know the deal. They know what's up. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to run all your information. And granted, you guys, these companies are hard to find. Not only are the companies that hire SAP drivers hard to find, most of them aren't hiring because there are so many drivers in my particular situation. Now, I'm not talking about the Pharisees out there that are absolutely freaking perfect that haven't gotten caught yet. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the actual people that are legitimate truck drivers. They have safe records, but they fail a drug test. Or they refuse to submit a drug test because they know that they will fail it. There's a lot of drivers out there like that, okay? This is one reason why there's such a shortage in the transportation industry, okay? And I get it. I'm not condoning what I did. I'm not saying that I was in the right for doing it. I'm not justifying myself. I know that I was wrong. I've already told you guys several times I made a stupid decision and I made a mistake. I broke a rule. And it was a big rule, okay? And I compromised my freaking career. by doing it. Now, thank God I didn't give up on the search, because when you are looking for a job and you know that you have background, you know that you have something dirty on you, and you have to try to explain this to all these different companies that are wanting to interview you, because that's the thing. If you have a good record like I have and good experience like I have, they get excited. They're like, man, why does this guy have a job? How is this guy looking for a job? You know? And they want to talk to me. I mean, all of them, they all wanted to talk to me. They all jumped on it. But as soon as I told them, I'm a SAP driver, I'm in the SAP program, they either hung up on me or they were like, well, sorry, you know, we can't have anything to do with that. We don't hire drivers in the SAP program. I was told that so many times, over and over and over again. Well, eventually, I did get in contact with a couple of companies, tiny companies. I also got in contact with some companies that seem like they're a bit bigger, but they're over-the-road companies. They're based out of Chicago, and after doing a little bit more research on those companies, from what I've heard, they're basically the bottom of the barrel, and you don't want to touch these companies. I'm not going to give you names. I'm just saying there are some companies in Chicago hiring SAP drivers, and apparently they're like Russian companies, and they're not good companies to work for. Apparently they have horrible CSC scores with the DOT. You know, they have terrible equipment that's unsafe, and you don't want to mess with companies like that, because it's just going to end up getting you in trouble. Now, I'm not real big on over the road. I don't like over the road. I never did. I don't like living in a truck. I'm willing to do it, but I would like to be home every weekend, and so that's what I was looking for. That's what I was wanting. If I couldn't find that, then I was just going to suck it up and go back over the road. Well, thankfully, this company that I'm working for right now reached out to me. I explained to him what was going on, and he was very understanding about it, very cool. Granted, this company is tiny, okay? We might have, as far as I can tell, I don't know exactly for sure, but we might have about 4 or 5 trucks in the entire fleet, okay? It's privately owned. It's just a tiny, small company. And you guys are going to see more. Like, I'll show you my truck, I'll show you my equipment, I'll show you what I do now. I had to make a big exception to go back to work. So I'm no longer hauling dry van at this point. I'm a flatbed driver now, okay? I'm already working on content to show you guys what I'm doing. You know, once you get on step 4 and you've got a company that's willing to work with you, that's when, and only when, you're going to be able to go back and take the DOT drug screen that will ultimately put you back in service after you've been out of service. So there are drivers out there. All you got to do is a little bit of research on this, and you're going to find that there are drivers out there that have been out of work for years because they can't find companies that are willing to hire them, especially if you don't have any experience. If you do have experience like me, the more the better. That way they can go back on your record and they can see that you've been, like me for instance, I've been driving a truck for 7 years and I've never failed a drug test. So I've got 7 years of clean experience where I didn't fail a drug test. And so the more experience you have, the better. The less experience, the less of a chance you're going to have of actually going back to work after you fail a drug test. There are some people out there, I'm not going to call them drivers because they're not drivers. There are some people out there that went to truck driving school. They paid the $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 to go to truck driving school. They passed it. They got their freaking CDL. And then they went and got hired for a company. That company did a pre-employment drug screen on them, and they failed it. And they have zero experience. And they're not going to get a job ever driving a truck. So that was the positive note about all of this. It was my experience and the backup and the good track record that I had. I even talked to my dispatcher from my last job, the one that I just got terminated from. This is the first job that I've gotten terminated from since like 2011. So it's been about 12 years it's been over 12 years since I got fired from another job. I have a solid work history and good references. So my dispatcher from my previous job even told me, he was like, if you need to put me down as a reference, you can. I worked with you every day. You know, I'll do what I can to try to help you get back to work. But go clean yourself up and get this crap straightened out. And by the way, you know, you suck for what you did. And I do. I suck. I'm not happy with myself. It took a lot of grieving. It took a lot of reliving it in my head. It was a lot of regret. But the thing is, I picked myself back up. I'm back on track now. I'm back in a truck. I'm working again. I was out of work for about 6 weeks. So I went to do step 5. This company ordered a DOT drug screen for me to go and take, and a pre-employment. So I actually had to take 2 drug tests before I could start driving again. Once I passed that DOT, it's not a random, it's a return to duty drug screen. I passed that. And then that was when I went into step 6 of the SAP program. Now I'm on step 6. It's the final step. So from what I understand, depending on whatever your counselor, your SAP counselor, determined about you, that is how long, you know, you're going to be subject to getting random drug screens. So that could, from what I understand, that could range from 6 months, depending on what you were doing and how, you know, how much you had in your system that they caught or whatever, or, you know, like how dependent you were on a substance, how long you were abusing a substance for. In my particular circumstance, I just took this crap a couple times. I took it a few times, you know, on the weekend when I was not anywhere near a truck. So that's why I was able to turn it around so quickly, is because I have a clean background, no history, nothing like that. And I have the solid experience to back me up. So I was probably one of the better examples, probably one of the better cases to turn it around and come right back to work. And it still took me 6 weeks to do it. Now, this new job that I have, I'm compromising greatly. I'm living in a truck again to stay employed. I am taking a huge cut on my income. I told you guys how much I was making before. I'm not making anywhere near that now. And I'm working harder because I'm doing flatbed. So, you know, I if you guys want to judge me for what I did and tell me I'm a piece of crap, go ahead. If you're a truck driver and you want to wave your finger at me and say, how dare you do something like that, what the hell's wrong with you, blah blah blah, you know, you have every right to do that. If you're not a truck driver and you want to do that or say that to me, well, you can, and I'm not going to get upset with you for it. You're entitled to your own opinion, obviously, but at the same time, you don't know what it's like to be a truck driver. You don't know how difficult this job is, and you don't know what kind of levels of stress you're being subjected to, or what that does to you mentally over a span of time. And until you are, you know, like I said, you can say what you want to say to me about it, but again, I've turned my situation around. I have done what I needed to do to come back to work, to stay employed, to support my family. I'm going to be paying for this for a long time, however long they're going to be giving me drug screens. I suspect that it's not going to be more than a year. I could be wrong about that. They won't tell me how long this is going to be going on for. Obviously, they don't want me to know, because obviously if I'm going to continue to do the crap, they are going to want to catch me doing it, but I'm not doing the crap. And it was pretty much a one-time thing that I did it, and I'm never touching the crap again. And I really think it's screwed up that you can just go into a store anywhere now and buy freaking THC. I think it's wrong. You know, if they're going to make this big of a freaking deal about it and hold a double standard about it compared to drinking alcohol, how is it any worse? Again, I'm not justifying myself. I'm just asking, how is taking CBD on the weekend while you're off duty, not driving, not near a truck, not in a truck, at home, how is that any freaking worse than drinking alcohol and getting drunk at your house on the weekend? That's a double standard. And if they're not going to look at it as a double standard or see how it is a double standard, then they need to stop selling that crap. They need to get it out of the freaking stores. That's my opinion. Because it's too freaking easy to get your hands on. It's not like I went down into a trap neighborhood and asked for a freaking dime bag. I bought the crap at the freaking gas station. You know what I'm saying? So it's stupid. But now that I said all that, I'll kind of explain what I'm doing now. And like I said, I'm sorry the video is so long. If you guys are still interested in hearing what I have to say, awesome. I know you guys don't know me from Adam, okay? I know you don't know about all this history that I've been talking about, this 7 years of previous safe history as a truck driver. I know I used to have a YouTube channel that went back to the very beginning that would have proved it to you. My track record as a truck driver. Look, I get it. Like, if I have zero respect from anybody after you just listen to me talk about this for the past 45 minutes, you know, if I've lost all respect from anybody, it is what it is, okay? But I'm going to continue to move forward. Like I said, I have put the pieces back together. And now it's just a matter of holding it all back together. And see, one of the big things that I've had to learn about as far as like the course that I was telling you guys about is that like there are triggers, there are certain things that set people off. Okay, and with me, it has a lot to do with my job. And, you know, if I could blame the choice that I made on anything, I could say that it had a lot to do with my job and the level of stress that I was under at the time, the way that I felt that particular day. I just wanted that day to go away, you know. Again, I'm not making excuses or saying that the choice I made was right in any way. It was not right for me to do that. Clearly, obviously, I understand that. It was not the right choice for me to make. I had several other options that I could have chosen to prevent me from doing what I did. Well, I made the wrong choice. It's as simple as that, okay? Just leave it at that. But I'm going to continue to move forward with what I've got right now. Thank God, I've got a plan with all of this. And in some ways, this job that I have now, in some ways it's going to help me. Because I'm going to gain experience as a flatbed driver doing this. And I'm brand new to it. It's not easy. It's very difficult. It's fast-paced. And it's a lot of physical work. More than what I was used to doing. Even though I used to unload my own trailers at a lot of the places that I went to, I would break it down, sort it out, and everything else. This is still more work than that in most cases. I'm going to have to learn how to do a bunch of stuff. I'm going to have to learn how to tarp loads. Well, those tarps weigh about 100 pounds a piece. You got two of them, and you're throwing them up on top of the cargo that's on the trailer. And I'm going to film all the stuff that I'm talking about. I've already started filming the strapping process. I've got a video in the works if you guys are interested in watching it. But what I'm doing right now is strictly flatbed. I have a 48-foot flatbed trailer. It's split axle, which I talk a little bit more about in the video that's going to come after this one. The truck that I'm driving now is the oldest truck I've ever driven. It's wore out, it's beat up, but it's a pretty cool truck. I kind of like it, and I was hoping to show you guys more of it, but it's a 2011, either a 2011 or a 2012 Freightliner Cascadia, so I'm still driving Cascadia. This is my assigned truck, so I'll always have it. Again, I'm sleeping in it now. I'm working typically Monday through Friday, regional. So I'll be going all around Georgia and the states that surround Georgia, except for Florida. Now, I could go west as far as Texas, from what I understand. But I'm not going to typically go north of North Carolina, so I don't think I'll be going into Virginia. I won't be going into Kentucky or anything north of Tennessee right there. And, maybe some Arkansas, I don't really know. And I don't think we go to Florida either. So that's the area that I'm going to be in. It's just like southeast regional minus Florida. And so far, I'm liking it. Like I said, I've been working for about a week now. So I'm still brand new to it. Now, what they did is they trained me for a couple of hours. I delivered a load with the safety guy for this company. We went and delivered a load that was tarped. So I took a tarp off of a load, but I am yet to actually tarp a load. We haul a lot of construction supplies. Like right now, I've got these huge concrete slabs on the trailer. But we typically haul all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see the kind of loads that I'm picking up now. So far, the strapping process took me a little while to actually, figure out how to do it, like the best way to do it. But I am picking up the pace with that at this point. I'm getting it done faster than I was last week, which is definitely a good thing. As long as I keep my productivity levels reasonable, I should have enough income to pay my bills, pay my mortgage, have money left over. I'm not going to be struggling, as long as the guy that hired me, he stays true to his word about the income part of the job. As long as I'm making what he says I'm going to make, I should be fine financially, and I should be able to afford to live in a truck, which is very expensive. That's another reason why I don't like over the road, and I don't like living in a truck, is because it costs a lot more money. there are some cool things about the job. Now, before I live in Jackson, Georgia. Before I was dispatching on my last job out of McDonough, Georgia, which isn't far from Jackson, and the commute to work wasn't horrible. I was going to work and coming back home every single day. Well, that's no longer going to be the case with this job. But the company, I'm actually, in my next video, I'll show you guys where it is. It's also in Jackson, Georgia. It's about 15 minutes away from my house, which is awesome. That means that on the particular days when I'm going to run through and I have the ability to take my break at the yard, I'll be able to run home and go, spend the night at my house and see my family during the middle of the week, which is great. So that's another good thing about it. There's a lot of cool stuff about this truck, with it being an older truck, good positive things about the truck that I like a lot. It is a 10-speed, so I'm driving a manual again, which I'm a little rusty with because I haven't driven one in a couple of years, and I didn't drive one very much in the 7-year period that I have been driving. My first year over the road, I drove a manual, and I actually got my license in a manual. So I know how to drive them. I'm just not an expert at it. I'm getting there. Another good thing about this truck is that it doesn't have a shut-off timer on it. So it'll just idle indefinitely until you turn it off. That's really good. It's still summertime. Well, summer's almost over, but it's still technically summertime, and I'm working in the south. So he doesn't mind if we idle the truck. He's not giving me a hard time about it. The truck itself, even though it's old, beat up, wore out, it does have some potential. I've got a refrigerator back there. It's not working, but if I threw some money at it, I could probably get it fixed. Same thing with the inverter. There's an inverter back there. Not working. If I threw some money at it, I could probably get it fixed. What else? This truck does not have a DEF tank. This truck was actually manufactured before they started requiring trucks to have DEF and use it. So that's another good thing I don't have to worry about. There's no electronic safety crap in this truck. There's no radar on it, forward-facing radar. So there's no safety systems. So I've driven brand new trucks, guys. Last year I drove a 2022 Freightliner Cascadia a couple times. The new trucks, they're nice in some ways, but they absolutely suck in other ways. There's a lot of electronic safety mechanisms on newer trucks, blind spot monitors, lane monitors, all this crap that is annoying as hell when you're trying to focus on driving and you've got crap beeping at you obnoxiously. It really gets annoying. Okay? I don't think, as long as you've got mirrors on your truck, I don't think it's necessary to have a big flashing light on your A-pillar over on the passenger side and a loud, obnoxious buzzer screaming at you just because you put your turn signal on and there's a vehicle in that lane and you're just waiting for them to get out of your way. You put your turn signal on to let them know you have to get over, right? You're not going to come over on them. You're just letting them know that you know they're over there, and you're putting your turn signal on so that they'll realize you're trying to get over and they'll get out of your way. Well, you don't need a freaking annoying ass buzzer going off the whole time that you're doing that when you're driving down the freaking interstate. It's not necessary. So the good thing about this truck is it doesn't have any of that crap in it. It doesn't even have a radar. And there's only one other truck in my entire driving history that I've driven that didn't have a forward-facing radar on it. This truck is not governed, okay? So I got to be careful with that. At the same time, it's kind of nice whenever I need to pass somebody. I don't have to worry about my speed control kicking in and not being able to get around a truck. So I don't ever have to worry about getting stuck in the center lane or the left lane because I'm trying to pass a truck and it speeds up on me because he doesn't want me to get around him. Well, this time I don't have any speed control, so I'll be able to pass the truck. At the same time, I've got to stay focused on my speed and everything else. I don't need to get any speeding tickets on the interstate. That would be bad. Okay. Another interesting thing about this truck is it has one of those windows on it. Those passenger door windows where you can actually see down there in your blind spot. So that's kind of cool. Never driven a truck like that. It's got some pretty cool stuff. This is the first truck I've ever driven with a leather seat. This seat is very comfortable. It's pretty nice. This seat right here, it's actually got a swivel on it. So you can pull that swivel out and it'll turn backwards or forwards. So I can see a lot of potential with the job, with the truck. Also, there's I forgot to mention that. I know you can't see it very well, but there's a sunroof, or not really a sun. It doesn't open. It's, I guess, what do you call those? Like a moon roof or some crap like that. There's a window up there in the ceiling, which is pretty cool. You guys will see more of it when it's daytime, but I kind of like the truck, despite the fact that it's old and it's a little ragged. It's pretty nice in some ways. It's got carpet in the sleeper, which could be a good or a bad thing depending on how you look at it. It's going to be harder to keep it clean, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of, even though it's difficult right now because I'm still in the learning process, I'm going to have to learn how to chain loads down. I'm going to have to learn how to tarp, do all this heavy stuff that I'm not used to doing. But I figure if I can hold down a job doing food service, I can probably do flatbed, more than likely. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So that's pretty much all I want to say right now. I've also got some ideas of things that I can probably do with my GoPro. If you notice on this truck, the hood mirrors are connected with those metal bars, those thin metal bars. Well, I just so happen to have a GoPro mount that'll connect to those metal bars, and I could just, strap it down to the hood mirrors. That way you got a better view, you got a different vantage point. You can actually see the truck when it's making turns or anything else. Also, with it being flatbed, there might be times when I can actually strap the camera to the cargo back there, and you can get a vantage point of the truck from way back, maybe even the very back of the trailer. That way you can see me, you can see the whole vehicle as I drive it, which would be kind of cool, I think. So yeah, I'm looking forward to new stuff that I can try, getting new angles and everything. I know that all I have on this channel so far is just the camera strapped to my head, and I want to add more to that. I know that gets old after a while, but yeah, I'll see what I can do as far as, livening up the content a little bit more. I've also planned on kind of filming the process of what I do whenever I pick a load up, strapping it, tarping it, using chains, all that stuff. I know that there's already content on YouTube of stuff like that, but there's no reason why I can't add to it. Okay, so this is a little bit more interesting. Like I said, I admit it. Like it's more difficult than drive-in, but it's also more interesting at the same time because of what I'm doing now. I'm going to new places, doing different stuff that I've never done before, and it's refreshing. I'm actually liking it. I'm enjoying it. There's a lot more involvement with each load that I haul. I don't just have freight sitting in a van trailer that I can't see. I'm actually responsible now for securing each piece of cargo that I pick up. So I'm more connected to what I'm doing. I'm more connected to the job itself, what I'm hauling. I'm learning more and more and more each and every single day, and it's pretty cool. It's a nice change. Honestly, you know, haul and drive van for the past 7 years, I'm just bored to freaking tears with it, and I want to do something different. Food service, in a lot of ways, it was different, but it was still the same thing. It was still drive van, even though it was very different than no-touch freight jobs. This is just completely different. And you know, once I get out of this SAP program, if I want to continue with flatbed, I don't have to stay with this company. Eventually, there's going to be other companies that are interested in hiring me. Now, it's not indefinite. There are some companies out there that are just, like I said, they're Pharisees. They just expect their drivers to be absolutely perfect, and in reality, there is no perfect driver out there. I don't care. You see these guys driving around with these stickers on their cabs saying 1 million miles accident free, 3 million miles accident free. That just means you didn't get caught, okay? Nobody's perfect. And this is a one-time screw-up that I made. I've turned it around. I'm clean. I'm not touching the crap ever again. So I'm going to spend the next however long it takes. You see, this SAP program, I'm going to get through it. It might take 6 months. It might take a year. Now, a lot of these companies, they will hire you even though you failed a drug test in the past. They'll still hire you as long as you're out of the program. If you made it through the program and you didn't have any issues and you proved yourself to be trustworthy, once again, that you're going to stay clean, and you're proving to them that you're going to stay clean, then there are still a lot of companies out there that'll hire you even though you failed one drug test. They don't think it's that big of a deal. They just don't want to hire you while you're in the program, because a lot of the responsibility as far as the random drug testing comes down to my company. Now, when the FMCSA wants to give me another random drug test, they're not going to reach out to me. They're going to reach out to my company, and then it's my company's responsibility to reach out to me. Now, I think that the company actually has to pay for the drug test, and they also have to make sure that it gets done, or they can be held liable for the failure to submit a random. They can get in trouble for that. If they don't tell me to go take the drug test, then it's not my fault. It's their fault for not being responsible enough to let me know to go take it. Okay, so that's the reason why I think a lot of these companies, they don't want to mess with anybody in the SAP program. But once you get out of it, if you've got the good record, if you've got the experience, I don't think that most of these companies are going to make a big deal about it, as long as you're out of it and you made it through. Okay? So even if I don't want to stay with this company, but I want to continue to do flatbed, I'll probably be able to get another job hauling flatbed with a better company that pays more, you know, in the future. But right now, I'm pretty happy with what I've got. I'm happy with the setup. The guy that I work for, the guy that hired me, like I said, he owns a small company. We don't have many trucks, and he's very nice, very cool guy. He was very understanding about my entire situation. I was just straight up honest with him about it, just like I was with you in this video. And he didn't give me a hard time. He gave me a chance, and now I'm trying to prove myself as, you know, worthy of being an employee at his company. And so far it's going pretty good. So that's all I want to say in this video. I'm sorry it was so long. I just wanted to explain myself, explain why I haven't made any new videos, why there was a gap for the content on my channel. And I just wanted to be personal with you guys and take some time with the camera pointed on me so you can actually get to know me a little bit. This is not good circumstances, and believe me, there's way more to me than this screw up. Okay, there's a lot more about me that you still have yet to know. Anyway, with that being said, I want to say thanks for watching my videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Fresh, new content, new job. I hope you guys are looking forward to it. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Later.